Is this not okay?
No,
My
it's fine,
coffee?
man. You can do whatever you want.
It's
like, hey, you brought your coffee up here. That's
it's
awesome.
an interview. I thought you'd have like a nice desk
That's
with
true.
coffee mugs.
Coffee table right there.
We're gonna see how the giving goes later. Well, maybe. So, I'm just kidding. Hey, I know we probably should get down to business. We could just goof off all day because we like each other so much, but or at least I like you. I don't know, but Mitchell and Jen McGHEE. A lot of you probably know them, but for those who don't, will you just tell everybody really quick kind of what you do here at Woodstock City?
You go first.
I'm Jen McGHEE. You can call me whatever. I work in transit with our middle school students.
It's really interesting. My whole life, I've known Jen longer. Like we've known each other longer than we've not known each other.
Yep.
And she's never been Jen.
Until I came here.
Until she came here.
Really?
So she's like,
So
I'm Jen
I've
McGHEE. I'm like,
adopted
you're
it.
actually Jennifer.
Yeah. All right, Jennifer.
While we're being vulnerable.
It's a sign of intimacy.
That's right.
Okay, Jen, sorry.
I work in transit with middle schoolers. I love it. Yeah.
And she's awesome at it.
Yes.
I actually work in this room most of the time. The team I work with is actually putting all of this stuff on right now. So team, way to go, guys. Every week I get to work with Gavin and the team that's in here, and we create experiences for you. And if you don't like them, you can email me maybe.
Email
later.
Mitchell only. Email Mitchell. He's in charge of the bad experiences you don't like. Okay. I love how you just phrased that.
Director of bad experiences.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. For the next few minutes, we're gonna talk about the topic of vulnerability, which is a really fun topic. It's not one that we all lean into easily. It's one that a lot of us are a little scared of. Ironically, we love it when we see it in others, but we're afraid to do it ourselves. So here's why we want to talk with you both about this. Publicly here at Woodstock City, you have both been just incredibly vulnerable about things in your life that you're kind of working through or have experienced or kind of what you learned through some tough seasons. And so, in fact, last year, Jen, you did that even during Good to Know. You told your story and just about how you're walking through some difficult stuff. And Mitchell, at Night of Worships, you've done that too. And so I feel like you guys have both been incredibly open with your life and have been vulnerable. So when you hear the word vulnerability, like what does it mean to you? Like how would you describe that?
Yeah, I think vulnerability, it's tough, but it's being real, being authentic. I think knowing who you are and being okay with who you are. Your life experiences, kind of the story, the things that come your way, and being able to connect with others with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think the thing I love about vulnerability, when I think about the word, I think no more hiding.
Yeah.
Like, no more hiding. And I love that. Brene Brown says it's quite a few things. If you never read any of her stuff or seen her on, like, just go to YouTube.
She's the real expert.
She's a TED Talk, and maybe it's the most watched TED Talk of all time, Brene Brown.
And it's phenomenal, and it's helped us a ton. In fact, our staff has read through a few of her books here. But she has a list, and so I'll just read you just a few things off of the list that have kind of helped me broaden my perspective on what vulnerability might be and what it's kind of
because when we
not.
think vulnerability, we just think just sharing your junk, but it's so much bigger.
It's so much. It's so much more.
In fact, sometimes that's not even vulnerable, right?
Exactly.
Right.
That's stupid sometimes. But
I think that's how she said it.
Yeah. That's vulnerable. So she says things like saying no. Like some of us are just no good at saying no. Asking for help. That's a big one for me. I can talk about that later. Standing up for myself. Talking about or identifying anxiety in your life. The first date after a divorce.
Yeah.
Anybody ever dealt with that? Yeah. Getting fired, falling in love, super vulnerable. Getting pregnant after 3 miscarriages. This is a huge one, I think, right here. Exercising in public.
Yes.
Yeah, anybody else, does that make you feel vulnerable to even think about it?
Yeah.
Walk in the gym and you don't know what to do.
And you don't know what to do, and you're just looking around like, all these other people, they got the memo.
Yeah, how do they know this?
And I don't know, and he's got the tank top. And just so you know, I don't go without the great tank top. So
me either.
It's like, because I feel super vulnerable if I'm not in a great outfit.
Right, me too.
At the
I'm gonna
gym.
look the part if I don't even know what I'm doing.
Even
at
if
least.
you don't know what you're
I'm
doing.
sitting on the machine backwards, but I look right.
Oh gosh.
man.
Admitting to being afraid, being accountable, all of those things are just kind of part of the list of what, being vulnerable could be.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to think that vulnerability is just sharing. When somebody says, how you doing? You go, okay, I'll tell you, but it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah, so much bigger.
So what are the kind of the benefits of living more vulnerable? I mean, you guys have been doing this for a while, right?
Yeah.
So what have you seen as some of the benefits of that?
I'll start with that.
Okay.
For me, I feel like vulnerability, First off, I've not been good at this my entire life. I grew up in a home where dad wasn't around after the age of 7. I kind of lived really in hiding, and I think that's why that word kind of resonates with me a little bit. Everything had to look perfect. Everything had to be perfect because nothing was perfect. So my life was about perfecting the outside of me so that if anybody got in close, they might find out the real stuff. So here's what I found out, even in the last 2 years of my life, is that vulnerability has been a gift. Like, it's been the single greatest gift I've ever experienced, because now I actually know who I am. And because I know who I am and I've received vulnerability, like, I'm like, I think I'm gonna be myself now. I'm gonna know who I am, and I'm gonna actually express who I am. And because of that, it's actually been a gift to other people. I mean, I remember the first time we were at a night of worship, had a stage out here in the middle of the room, and I said the words anxiety came out of my mouth. And I always thought anxiety was a weakness. It's like, that was something that weak people dealt with, until I got anxiety and was like stricken and didn't want to get out of the bed, anxious. And I remember just saying the words from a stage, and the next thing you know, there are grown men, who are walking up to me in the hallways back here saying, that's me too. And so all of a sudden, I recognized this vulnerability thing as a gift for me to be able to express what's going on inwardly, but also as a gift to others who might actually receive something that's going on with me inwardly, because they can just identify. They're like, I'm with you.
Yep.
I'm there. And I needed that, It
just leads to connection.
It leads to connection. I
Yeah.
feel like it's one of the greatest gifts we've been given, and that we can use to help other people as well.
I love how you describe vulnerability as a gift, because it is a gift to others, right? When someone's vulnerable with you, you do feel a connection, which is a gift. At the same time, the opposite is what you said is so true too, that it's a gift to yourself, because we're gonna talk about the risks of this, but like living without being vulnerable is like living in slavery.
Yeah.
And so you're almost robbing yourself of what could be. You're robbing yourself of freedom, because you're trying to pretend that you're trying to pretend to be somebody that you're not, right? So what are the risks then? So there's a huge benefit to it, but it isn't all free of risk, right? So what's the risk of being vulnerable?
I think being vulnerable is risky. For me, I'm super guarded. So I am not I'm not gonna put on a show in front of everyone. Standing up here, this is even vulnerable. But there's risk in vulnerability. There's risk of, rejection. There's risk of conflict. There's risk of fear of not connecting with someone, or someone not understanding what you're walking through. You talked about last year where we invited some people, and I shared a little bit of our story where we had lost our 5th daughter 2 years ago, May. And I, learned through that, if I didn't allow others in, I'm not sure I was gonna make it. So it is risky, but maybe it's even riskier not to be vulnerable.
I think the real risk, to me, more so than the people on the outside, is us. Like, you risk the real you. And I think that's the scariest thing. Like, I look back at my life and I think to myself, no one knows me.
They think they do.
Yeah, in fact, I'll tell this real quick. Danielle, who's sitting right here, she works on a team with me, one of my dearest friends. We've worked together for a year and a half, 2 years now. About 2 months ago, she looked at me, she texted me back and she says, Mitchell, this is amazing. I love that you've been doing this. I love this. I'm seeing this in you and this in you. I'm like, I just thought to myself, that's me. And she had no idea that was me.
Yeah.
And so the scariest thing to me is that you could live your whole life and no one know you because of your lack of being vulnerable with yourself or with God or with the people around you. And I'm like, I don't want to live anymore with people not knowing me.
Yeah. Well, honestly, when you become the most healthy version of who God made you to be, that's exactly who you should be. But you never get there, right? If you can't be vulnerable with yourself first.
Yeah.
Because if you can't kind of own that. So, So obviously your opinion on vulnerability has changed a lot. I mean, you even said in the last 2 years, this is something you've thought a lot about. So like, how has your opinion changed, or what has kind of changed in you since you've been living this way more?
When a little bit of that, learning to take that risk, to be open. I think for me, like such a life experience rocked us so much that I knew for our connection and for our families, if I did not allowing people to help me grieve through something. Mitchell talked about keeping that perfect facade or that perfect composure. We sit in a place where it feels like we've got to have it all together.
Right.
And then when life comes your way and it's like, I can't control that.
We don't have it together.
I don't. And so allowing people to step in, and that starts with me. It's starting with me going, I don't even know what to do. I need help.
Yeah.
And that's probably been.
Yeah, asking for help. Does anybody else have a hard time asking for help? Anybody? All the men, their hands go up in the room?
Yeah.
Except with the dishes, and we're like, can you help with the dishes?
Yeah. I have no ability to iron this.
Yeah, laundry, but
But
like
I
the
refuse
real
to ask for directions.
the real things in life, I've always had a hard time asking for help with. 2 years ago, this May, we actually delivered our 5th child, lost her. It was by far the hardest thing we've ever been through in our life.
Yeah.
And through that, I started putting up this wall, this facade of, I'm okay. Everything's okay. Jen wasn't okay. My family wasn't okay. I was definitely not okay. But if people thought I was okay, maybe they would just treat me normal and we could just move on in life and we would be okay. So I expected people to run to me, to comfort me, to show up at my house, to, do the things you do when somebody dies, right? But because I said, I'm okay, like here's the wall, I'm okay, don't come near, no one could come near. So guess what? No one showed up, or they didn't show up like I thought they were gonna show up.
Mm-hmm.
And they did show up. People did so many things. But from my perspective, they weren't there for a minute. And then-
Which is easy to be mad at the other people.
Yeah, and then it's like,
Yeah.
because I had these crazy expectations, I was like, where is everybody? Does nobody love me?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, I love you. You just said you didn't need us. So this April, I'm sitting at breakfast with 2 of my best friends. They may be in the room today. And they said, how are you doing? And I said, well, May is really hard. And it's the first time that's ever come out of my mouth, sorry. The first time that's ever come out. We celebrate 3 birthdays in May, 2 of our daughters who are still here, 1 who's not here. And we had never celebrated Hayes, ever. And they said, what can we do? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, could you help me throw a party? And could you help me build something special for Jen in our backyard? So I built this fire pit and this thing, and then we threw a party for the first time ever. I think we have a picture of the party. That's kind of it. So this is us in the backyard releasing balloons. And if you can see back there in the very back, there's this bench that a friend of mine helped build. And we got a logo built, and like, it was just the most sweet thing, but it never would have happened.
And look at all those people.
Yeah.
And you can't even see half the people because they're on the other side of the camera. And if you weren't invited to that, let me just be vulnerable.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Our backyard's
Okay,
not
we
big
just-
enough. And so I just go ahead and say out front. So the crazy thing is, like, May was amazing this year.
Yeah.
You know why it was amazing? I asked for help.
Yeah, we let people in.
And everything I had felt up until this May was on me because I didn't have the courage to be vulnerable. And it's worth it. It's worth everything that it took out of me to say, I need your help. May sucks. It's no fun.
Yeah.
I need your help.
You know, it is amazing that when we are afraid to be vulnerable, we're afraid because we don't want to be rejected. And ironically, by not being vulnerable, you're not being accepted anyway. Because this fake pretend version of you is who they're accepting.
Yeah.
So what's really at risk? Well, what's really at risk is not ever really being accepted, not really ever being kind of in, or being really known, right?
Yeah.
So I know it's kind of affected your relationship with God a lot. We talked a little bit about that already. But just for the sake of time, can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, my guess is that the vast majority of us, and this is me included, are trying to figure out this. Like, there's something in us that wants to be more vulnerable, but we're just not really sure we can, or not even really sure what to do next. Like, so what would you just tell people? Like what's the next step from where they are?
You want me to start?
Yeah.
I would say for me, the biggest thing is finding out who I am. I think the only way to be vulnerable with others is to know you. So here's what I've done. This is just really practical. For the last almost 90 days, every morning, I've sat by myself for 10 minutes, not long, not uber spiritual, and I've written down one thing that God says about me. And every single morning, I wake up knowing exactly who I am. So every time I interact with a human during the day, I'm no longer dictated by what you might think of me or what I might be wearing. In fact, the reason my hair is shaved right now, a guy just asked me, he said, hey, I really loved your hair shaved. Did you just mess it up when you were cutting it? And
that's honestly what we all thought, because you cut your own hair.
I cut my own hair.
Yeah.
And the reality is, about 2 months ago, I was in a place where I was trying to figure out, like, who am I really? I'm being vulnerable with God, vulnerable with myself, and I thought to myself, I am not what I present. I am not my hair. I am not my clothes. I am not what I perform. I am a child, I am loved, and I walked into my bathroom and I ripped all of it off. And I came out and Jen was like, okay.
I thought I looked good.
There's
But
that.
that wasn't the point.
And then I walk out and she says, you look like Justin Timberlake. And I was like, not what I was going for.
Just going for hideous.
Not what I was going for. So anyway, if you can do one thing, I know we got to get done. Know who you are.
Know who you are.
And I think that comes from the source of not just yourself, but your identity. Who says who you are? Who defines who you are?
And then once you discover really who God says you are, it's a daily exercise of putting that into practice.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, waking up every morning, every conversation, remembering you know who your identity is or who you are and who wrote that in you.
Yeah. Let that dictate how you interact and how that plays out in the real world.
I love that. Hey, if I hope that during this conversation, if nothing else, you realize that it really is healthy to be vulnerable. And we've talked about this, Mitchell, I get to spend a lot of time with you working together, but you're right. Like in the last year or two, like I've watched you traverse some of that. And I've always loved you. I mean, we've worked together now for like 9 years or something, right?
Yeah.
And Jen, almost the same. But like, not only do I think that I love you, now I feel like I even know you more.
Yeah.
Like I actually know who I'm loving.
I love that.
Which is so cool, right?
Yeah.
And that's really how it should be, So thanks for being vulnerable. You guys
You
give
bet.
him a hand. And Tom, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.